Hey, we're live. Hello and happy Tuesday. It feels so strange to be saying this because it's been so long since I posted a LinkedIn Live. But I am joined by the fabulous Matt today, and we're going to be chatting all about copy and injecting personality and humanizing it and seeing what works and what doesn't work and what we can do to maybe improve it. But if you're new to me, I am Louisa and I work with creatives and leaders and strategy and do all sorts of creative thinking and whatnot. But I won't bore you about me. I'll hand you over to Matt, and Matt can introduce himself. Thank you, Matt, for joining me today.
My pleasure. I'm Matt Drzymala. I'm a copywriter and content strategist at Indelible Think. I work hopefully, most of the time, with playful brands. But obviously, as we chat today, I'm going to show you where I actually work with brands that aren't quite playful, but how I inject a bit of personality into that copy.
What do you think is the sticking point for people? So let's just think about maybe freelancers, for example, and how maybe they're just starting out or they've been going for 5, 10, 20 years, but copy just isn't their thing, and maybe they don't know where to start. How do you get started? What gets you going?
I think the difference for me is that I've always kind of written in a chatty kind of style going way back. So for me, it feels like just normal. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people come unstuck because of like how we're taught to write in school, just very safe, and also just not wanting to come across as unprofessional. Like online, I'm running a business, so I've got to be very overly professional, and you really don't. Depends on like how you market in your business, but for me, I just try and think about like what would I say to people on a call, and I just think about that when I'm writing for myself, and yeah, that's kind of how I just get started. Just think, right, even just like today when I'm speaking to you, in my mind's going like, what am I going to say and how am I going to say it, and my brain will almost kind of go say it like this because that's what people expect you to say, and say it in a very clear way. Don't say it in a Manc accent because people might not understand you. But there's that other part of the brain just goes that balls to that and just like say it how the other one. So yeah, that's kind of what I think about when I'm writing. I just kind of try and get back into listening to myself, my own voice in the words that I actually use.
Do you think it's harder for people though if they've come from like a corporate background? Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I worked in corporate for a long time, then I switched to an SME, but the SME was a music business, so it was very different tone, literally. And I find that I think people sometimes just struggle, especially if they've come from a corporate world, to be themselves without sounding robotic.
Yeah, I think it does. Again, it goes back again to all that stuff that we're taught at school, that just to be safe, this is how you say stuff. You don't say this, you don't say that. And I think when you've come from somewhere corporate, when you're using words like synergy and blue sky thinking in emails and stuff like that. I mean, like even now I get emails just like from companies and stuff, and it's just so boring. It's just very corporate and safe. I don't know if they've done it in AI or not, but it's just like I'd rather read an email that sounded like a person. I know we hear that a lot, right? How you talk, but it's just a lot nicer. It's just a lot more personable. Like I think something I'm going to say later on is just like says it perfectly from a client that I work with. Just when, even though I've kind of written it, the fact that she signs it off, that it's her voice, and like when you read it back, you just like, it just sounds like a real person.
Yeah.
And what I'm writing for them, it's quite a dry subject. It's very boring by my client's own personal admission. But just by adding just tiny little bits, you kind of get a really big dollop of bland explanation, bookended with like personality.
Yeah.
so even though you forgive kind of like the boring explanation because it's just got a little bit of that person in the copy, but it's hard to do. And this person I'm talking about is really fun as a person as well. Her industry is quite corporate and dry sounding, but her as a person is just like so much fun. Always laughing, just saying bonkers things. And it's like you can put that into your copy.
Yeah.
People aren't going to find that unprofessional because she also does talks at events and she's herself at these talks. But when it comes to writing a copy, she's like, "Oh no, I've got to be very dry, very corporate, very because my industry, and I don't want to be, but I don't know how." And it's like yeah, just look how you are at these events. You don't talk like that. You're cracking jokes. You're making fun of people in your industry, but in your copy, you're like, "Oh no, I can't do that." It's a bit different in person than it is written, and really, it isn't.
I mean, I often say to people, it's about bringing your business to life. So whether that be, it's your brand. Ultimately, the way you write, that's part of your brand. And I think people forget that, don't they? Like it's part of your brand personality. And when you are so very robotic and just very formal and everything else gets lost. And I always think, like, whether it's an email, your website copy, your social media content, that if it's just very bland and it's just very formal and structured, people don't get a flavor of who you are. And I think that's really important, because like the way I often describe it is, if I don't know, two people going for an interview, if they both have exactly the same skill set, but actually one person's spoken a little bit more and been a bit more themselves, a bit more relaxed and all the rest of it, and you start to connect with them and you build that like trust factors, who are you going to choose to work with? Obviously it depends on what you're looking to employ, the reason and the fit and all the rest of it, but more often than not, you're going to choose the person you connect with as opposed to just empty sounding words.
Yeah, and I think, like you said now on social media, like I think a lot of people are finding that now with LinkedIn, just talking about what they do. It's just like, why am I only getting 3 likes?
Yeah.
Why is no one engaging? Because LinkedIn has changed in that sense to like being a lot more. It wants stories. Last week I posted about that I've got Polish citizenship, and told a story about my granddad and what he did in the war and where he went in the war and like what it means to me to have dual nationality and stuff like that. A real kind of human story, nothing really to do with my job. But that has got like thousands and thousands of views, hundreds of engagements. And you kind of go, well, how does that help you get business? And it's like, well, to be honest, I'm not sure it does, but it might do, but what it does do, people get to know who I am and my story. And like you say, it's that personal brand. But when I go and post something like, oh, this is how such and such does this, and this is what such and such should be doing, it's a bit blander. Even though I'm trying to put a bit of personality to it, it's still just kind of like, oh, this is what you're doing wrong in your business. And no, people just don't kind of connect with it. Whereas the human stories, you can find human stories, connect it to your business or what you're offering in some way, then they just get a lot more engagement. And going down the kind of very corporate, like, oh, we've all heard it, like, oh, this isn't Facebook, this is LinkedIn, so this is a business site. It's like, sorry, mate, but times have changed. It just has. The algorithm has changed, and it just doesn't push what it was a few years ago, and it wants that human story, and it wants that personal brand, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it is.
No, and I would agree. And I think that, yes, you could argue that it's not stories to do with work, but actually building that connection again. And I think that's what it's all about. It's building that connection, because the more you talk and share personal stories, okay, it might not always be to do with your business. People remember that information. And again, I had a conversation with someone this morning and we were talking about something similar. And it's the fact that the more you connect with people, that evolves the conversation. And okay, they may not need what you're doing at the moment, what you offer at the moment, but actually you're going to stay in someone's mind because they start to recognize how you write. They start to recognize your branding, your songs, your little jingles, your rewrites and everything else.
Yeah.
And it starts to build a bigger picture. So yes, you're combining that work stuff with your content, but then also adding that additional depth to it to bring you and show you that actually there's more to you than just being yet another name. And obviously it helps for both you and I, the fact that our names are probably a little bit more memorable than just a simple common name. Like, I mean, my name's quite popular in Holland. But it just helps kind of keep you in mind for people because they know they've got to know you.
And that's the thing. It's like, just because it's not necessarily work, and sometimes it can be, you might be able to get in, and you will be able to get in stories about work that are still, I'm not saying funny, but just have a bit more personality that are going to do good numbers. But like you say, people remember you, so they might not need you now, and a lot of people don't need you now.
Yeah.
I think what people always used to say was like, what you're doing in your marketing now is for 6 months in the future. I mean, I don't know whether that's just kind of extended to like 3 years these days, but people will still remember, if you'll keep appearing in people's feeds on whatever social media it is and they like your content, even if they don't need you, they might need you in the future. They might know someone who I need a graphic designer, I need a copywriter, I need, whatever you do, because they remember you. And like, even now I've got 2 clients. One of them's like said to me, like, I've been wanting to work with you for 3 years. And another one's like, yeah, you actually, of all the people that I follow, your content's the one that actually sticks out because it's bright, it's colourful. You do silly videos with funny jingles. You do things differently to everyone else. And it'd be great if every time you posted something, someone landed in your DMs or in your inbox just going, yeah, I want to work with you, but it just doesn't work like that. It's like anything else. It's as easy as like saying, like, I really want that jumper, but you kind of keep going, I don't know, can I afford it? Do I really need it? But if that company kept pushing that jumper on you, but in a fun way, you might go, oh, do you know what? I too can skip across zebra crossings just like in the advert. And do you know what I mean? It's just, you've just got to keep showing up. But I think when you're a bit more personable, even if you are, I mean, look at my business isn't in my name.
Yeah.
Because it's just ridiculously complicated to spell and pronounce. So I didn't really have that option. So my business initially looks like a larger company. I get emails all the time going, oh, hey, Indelible Think, can you pass this on to your XYZ department? And I'm like, it's just me. But you can still have that personal kind of, profile, even as a business. Even if you are a business with like 50 employees, that doesn't necessarily mean just like being daft and silly. It's your own, whatever that personality is for the business. Every business can have its own distinct personality that doesn't make it sound like one person like me, or that's silly or daft. It's just literally just being something that connects with people on a human level.
100%. And it's worth noting that I think we've had people drop in and drop out, but if anyone does have any questions or comments, then do obviously drop them in the comments box, because then we can see them as well. And I'm sure Matt will be more than happy to answer any questions. But so I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on AI?
In
terms of copywriting?
I might have to go for a late night LinkedIn on this one. Might have to go for 9 p.m.
Well, I know there's so much chat, isn't there, about AI and about how AI is taking jobs, and I don't disagree with that and all the rest of it. But I think in some ways it's also something that we've got to accept, that AI is there. It's not going anywhere, not in the immediate future, I don't believe. So I guess my perspective is that it's about working with it rather than being hungo against it. Yes, you've got the issues on the planet and all the rest of it, and I'm not, discounting any of that. But as a copywriter, where it's easy for people to go onto any AI tool and ask it to write your copy, A, what are your thoughts on that? But B, where do you think people are going wrong with it? And C, how do you work with clients? Because I know that's something you help people with in terms of, okay, they can't necessarily afford to work with you straight away. So AI might bridge that gap to bring their costs down, and then maybe you get involved to help with the SEO or the making it, add more personality. Because I think as well with AI, people don't know how to properly use prompts and how to get the best out of it either. So that's a lot of questions I'm asking you. But over to you, Matt. What are your thoughts?
Like you said, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go away. Have I lost work to it? I don't know, but I don't think we'll ever truly know.
Yeah.
What an impact that is. Could it be the economy as well? You just don't know.
Could it be the war? Could it be anything?
Yeah, it could be anything. So, and like even as a writer, look at like graphic designers, they've had to deal with it as well. And then Canva comes in, which is a great tool, and I use it. But graphic designers, when that comes in, must be thinking like, do you know what I mean? It's I think there's no point me complaining about someone using AI to write the copy, but I think what you do when you actually look at what it produces, it might kind of give you all the details that you want, but it'll always be in a really cretinous tone of voice. It's just like you just want to pull your eyes out. Just like it gets really excited about random things. Just like, yeah, we're onto it now. We're doing it now. It's like, shut up.
I want to know what prompts you're sticking in, because I've never had any of that.
Believe me. No, I mean, I kind of use it as like a sense check for what I've written. For me, I tend to use it if I'm stuck for too long on something and I just can't think of how to get that sentence ended, for example. I would never kind of use it as a 100% copy and paste.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I've written something, I'm just not happy with, the opening sentence or something that just doesn't feel right. And I will ask it to kind of give me different examples. And most of the time, it doesn't give me 100% then, but it might give me an idea. So for me as a writer, I do use it as like an ideas kind of thing.
Bit of sounding board.
Yeah, a bit of like a sounding board. It's and I think as a writer, if I wanted to use it to write in my tone of voice, I'd probably, as a writer, know everything to ask it. But really, it's just not going to give you your tone of voice unless you like really, really know everything that it needs. It'll usually come back with like a similar tone of voice for everyone. In terms of my clients using it, I do have clients that do use it as almost kind of as a brief or as a kind of rough draft, but they kind of know, it's almost like, I know this isn't great, but this is kind of what I want to say. So can you rewrite it? Sometimes it depends. Sometimes one client, it's like, can you edit it? I can't afford for a full rewrite, but can you edit it? Whether people think that's right or not, at the end of the day, it's work. I'm trying to make it better for them, so I will edit it. But I have got a client that says, look, this is just my first rough draft. This is what I want to say. It's crap.
Yeah. You've
got like the outline now of what I want to say, so just rewrite it from scratch. So, at the end of the day, people want to save money. That's absolutely fine. I'm looking for ways to save money. I'm cancelling stuff that I have to get the discount. It's not an easy time. Money just doesn't go as far. So I'm never gonna like slag anyone off for using it. And I know people do post a lot, like complaining, and I know it's bad for the environment, but you're not going to stop people from using it. Just you've got, like you say, you've got to just adapt to kind of what people want. I don't use it like on a grand scale. I use it for little bits and bobs because I'm a writer, I'm a creative, and it's just not going to come up with something that I can come up with in my head.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's taking thousands and thousands of what people say, so it's giving you a rough approximation, and this is where all the M dash and the free part, it's not this, it's not that, it's this, comes in, because yes, people have written like that in the past, so it's learned, but also it's taking thousands and thousands of stuff, things that people are writing, so it's just squashing an approximation of human speech. So it's never gonna really, unless you, like you say earlier on, unless you really like drill right down into it and know all of the prompts to kind of pull everything out, which is time consuming in itself. You may as well have written it by the time you've done that. Then it's never going to sound like you. But yeah, I'm never going to like have a go at someone because I don't know their personal circumstances, and you know, why am I using Canva when I could use, you know, my graphic designer Thomas, who did my branding, because I can't afford that on a consistent basis. So I'll use Canva. Is it brilliant? I think I do decent stuff. People like what I do in terms of my images. But if I really want something designed, it's like I've got this new feature and I want this really amazing front cover for all my images, then I'll absolutely use Thomas, because I can't design what I want. But most of the time I don't need it. So it you know, the argument there is like, well, why am I using Canva? Because I can't afford a graphic designer every single week, every single month, every year, because there's so much, you know, money goes on paying your bills and running your own business and work going quiet. So it's a hard balance for me as well. Against like, why am I using other packages instead of using a human being as well? So I think we're all using Canva and stuff like that. No one's going, why you're not just paying a graphic designer 100% of the time.
But I think that's a really good point, because I remember, I mean, I'm hit and miss a little bit more so these days with social media, but I remember a good few years ago, 5-6 years ago, like there was lots of content about, you know, using Canva, using all these other different platforms that came out and stuff. But at the end of the day, if there's something you want doing properly and you can afford to, you will go to the expert that does that, you know, and you can't necessarily do that every single time that you want something, unless, you know, your business is making X amount. But even still, you still want to be looking at your profit margins and all the rest of them, thinking, well, why am I outsourcing that when actually I know it's going to be a quick tweak myself? Or, you know, it's that balance between it all. And I think, you know, there's a lot to be said about the whole, because I used copywriters quite a few years ago, and I'd be trying to explain what I wanted and it wasn't coming out necessarily in the right way, because I kind of knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted. And then like there's a lot more to and fro and actually, as you were saying, like it kind of made me think of that to be able to kind of throw those ideas into AI, and like I'll often then just write stuff for myself, because I'm no good with a blank canvas. I need something to kind of get me started, and then I can continue. But then to be able to hand that over to someone like yourself, to be able to go, oh, look, this is what I'm thinking of, because then you've got a greater and more accurate brief, will surely make your life a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, sometimes like, I think sometimes like when you do get like a brief that someone's tried to write themselves, that can be a hindrance as a writer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, I think if someone's had a crack at it, they know sometimes, because I think sometimes with a written brief as well, they don't know what they want. They're kind of out in the words, and I think AI sometimes helps people do that. Like, it might not be the perfect words, but it's like, that's what I mean. I just can't
articulate it in the right way.
And that's why I love doing a call with people, because I would rather speak to them before they do the brief or after they've done brief and talk them through what they've sent me back, because they will actually say on a call like all these little things they've not written down, and it's like usually it's like, that's the perfect strap line, that's the perfect opening line, and you're not even using it in there. And if I would never have known, like, kind of that's the word you're saying, and that's kind of the perfect way to get that human side out of it for me as well. As much as I'm a chatty, fun copywriter, the real kind of human side of what I write for clients comes from calls and comes from the words they actually say, that they never write down in a brief, because they're too, again, go back to that very safe, you know, I do this, I do that. I have a chat with them for half an hour. lot more relaxed, and they come up with like one-liners that they just don't write down because it doesn't feel right. And it's like, these are the words you're saying.
Yeah.
This is the stuff you're saying at networking meetings when you meet people. Why are you not saying it in your copy? It's I mean, I don't go around to networking meetings going, "Oh, I could put some pop whiz bang in your copy." I don't say that, but probably should do now. It is in the strap line.
So do you think that people are embarrassed about the fact that they do use AI and then potentially wanting to get a copywriter to review that content?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I've never come across that myself, but that's just me personally. I think, people, I think when they know you, they want to use you, but they know they can't afford you. And I think, and they do turn to AI. I mean, like I said, I've seen it a couple of times with clients, but what I think is good is that they know it's not what they want. And when they have saved up enough, they will kind of come to you and go, "Look, I know this isn't great. I've written it in AI. It's not quite me." But so whether people are embarrassed, I think a lot of people use AI and are happy to use it. And, you see it all the time in comments on LinkedIn, just like it just repeats your point back to you. And you're like, that's exactly everything I've just said up above. And the comments just like summing up everything you've just said. It's like, why? I don't really understand why you've done that, but people use it all the time. I don't massively call people out on it or on social media because everyone does it.
Yeah.
And for me, standing out and being different is more important than me just going, "Oh, M dashes. Oh no. Oh, have you seen this?" Like, nobody cares. Your clients don't care that someone's used an M dash and it's a dead obvious example of AI use. It's like, no one cares. Just do a video of you singing about potato products by McCain's. And that's what I do different. I just like, why kind of add to the noise of AI complaints, because people are going to use it. You're not going to change them.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Stop banging on about it, because people are going to get a lot of hate now. But who cares? Just tell people about your business and what you do, or just your life or whatever. But just like, I think there's enough noise now around like AI and M dashes and 3-part. It's not X, it's Y. It's like, we know that now. 400,000 people have said that on my feed before lunchtime. Just tell me about your cat at this point, because
what are you going to have for lunch?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to have beans on toast, by the way, just to answer that. That's not being. People don't care really. It just creates an echo chamber, that, for me, and that's not really what I want to do. I want to do stuff, and sometimes what I do flops. Sometimes it takes off, but if you're just kind of adding to noise about AI, complaining,
it's not really serving anyone.
It's not. No, it's not. You might get your numbers. You might get loads of people going, but it's like,
get over it.
How is that helping your clients? I've never understood that. So I don't really talk about it on my social media.
No, I get that.
I've kind of gone, look, if you want to use AI in your copy and you want me to edit it, I can do that. Turn it into a kind of a positive. You're going to use AI. That's fine. You don't like it. If you can't afford me to do a full rewrite, I'll edit your AI copy for you and try and turn that kind of AI talk into something that's useful for my clients.
No, that makes sense. So what would you say then, given you're all about injecting personality into your copy and bringing copy to life, what would you say are like 3 good tips for how to go about doing that? Like, what's your approach? So if a client hands you something and you need to, they're like, it's just not hitting the spot, it's not getting the clicks on a website, for example, what do you do next? What would be your advice, like your top 3 tips?
In that instance, I would say, look, can we do a call? and talk through it, like pretty much what I've just said a few minutes ago. Get on a call, listen to them, because they will kind of say stuff like that they're not writing down, or what they've not created in the AI. So I think the main tip is just speak to people, even if it's your own copy. If it's your own copy, just like you could, I think I would say, like, speak to a friend or someone, or even a fellow freelancer or someone you work with, or one of your family, and just talk about your business to them. It's the same thing, really. It's getting that sounding board, but record what you're saying, because you just don't, when you talk about your business and what you want to write and what you do, you're a lot more excited when you say it aloud, rather than sitting there trying to write it down on, and even writing it down on a piece of paper is better than typing it, I think, because sometimes it's just that creative side of actually doing something with a pen and paper, whereas in a screen it's just not quite the same. I think it's all about just going back to listening to how you speak, or how your clients speak, and the things that they're saying outwardly, that when it comes to like the marketing, or website, they just don't put it in it. I think, that's kind of, whether I've got 3 tips, I don't know. I think that's just one of such a big thing, listening to yourself talk about what you do. It's a revelation. I've written stuff on website. I've tweaked my copy on my website a few times, and I've written stuff, and I'm like, oh, that is crap, man. But then when I actually trying to soundboard it against my wife, I'll be saying, I'm not doing that myself. I'm not actually getting feedback off a person. I'm not talking about it to a person. All of a sudden, I'm saying stuff that I think that would make really good copy. But when I'm sat all day on my own in this little room that I'm in, it doesn't come out, because I'm sat there staring at a screen and just getting too caught up in my head. As soon as I get it out, it just feels a lot more natural, and I start saying stuff that actually sounds like me and works better as copy, rather than sitting down. So whether I've got 3 tips, I don't really know, but I would think the main one for me is just speak it out. That's that kind of the way you speak kind of thing that people say. You're not always going to use every word, but it just helps you get that copy a lot more human, because you're actually saying it. You're not overthinking it in a corporate way, in a very safe way. You're just chatting to a friend or a loved one.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot to be said. I'm a huge fan of writing things down as opposed to using screens, because I think that when you do turn pen to paper, your creativity levels just spike more. Whereas when you're on a screen, for me, it just literally causes that blankness in my mind. Whereas when I start writing, or obviously mind mapping or something like that, that's when the freedom in my brain starts to work and words come out. And I guess I don't know if this is a pro feature, but on Zoom, it will do the Zoom notes now. And I've used it for calls, not for this purpose, but I guess if you were having a chat with a friend or something and you were to record it, Zoom now AI does pick out key things that you're saying in a way that you probably don't realize when you're actually talking and saying stuff out loud. So exactly what you're saying, it will pull out then the key points and the stuff that you're probably missing.
Yeah, and for me, I think if I think about a client, going back to that client I mentioned a while back earlier in the call, what she does, she works in the ecology section, so she works with a lot of ecologists. So it's very much about mapping and data systems, and it's real. She says, it's really quite boring, and it'll take you a long time to learn what I do. And I've been writing with her for 8 or 9 months. I'm probably about 45% of the way to understanding everything that she does. But when you read it, it's just this is what it is. I'll read it I make BNG maps most days of the week, and I've seen data from multiple sources and all sizes of business. The big problem is that there's no consensus on standards, particularly in CAD. But she's got to mention that, but when I speak to her, she's just like completely like, woo, like
Animated.
bonkers. It's just great. So when I write for her, I start putting in stuff that she would say. Like she would say the word sigh. So I stick that in. Or like, it'll be reet because she's from Bradford. So like, after all of that, kind of what I've said there, then at the end it's like, it's only a map, it'll be reet.
Yeah.
It's that kind of personality, like kind of the rest of the bit that's got to stay there, the boring bit is there, but our actual personality is there as almost kind of a backup to kind of make people feel like, yeah, this is all important, but actually it'll be reet because it's only a map, don't worry.
Yeah.
And just little bits like that, and that's not overly unprofessional. People aren't going to go, I'm not going to work with her. It's just a little way of adding a little bit of humanity to something that's quite dry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like I wrote some copy for like Hampton Court Palace. I just put in words, just like, trek the twisty turny pathways of the maze, stuff like that. It's have a nosy around Henry VIII's famous home, just like putting words like nosy. It's not the end of the world, is it? But it suddenly takes a very dry kind of explanation of like going to visit Hampton Court Palace and just makes it a little bit more human, and it's not overly unprofessional. You're just using little tiny words that when I've spoken to the client, they've said like, oh yeah, we want people to nosy around the house, and you're like, well, let's say that then.
Yeah.
Don't just
because
kind of go,
connect.
Yeah, visit Henry VIII's Grand Palace. It's like, no, have a nosy around. You've said it, use it.
Yeah.
And did it get signed off? Absolutely, because it just feels a lot more human.
But I think as well, like, because you just reminded me as you were talking then, obviously your rewrite series that you did and the jigsaw one, and you were talking about memories and stuff, and I, as you know, went and bought a jigsaw of the London Underground kind of maps because it reminded me of when I'd gone to London with my son and about all the rest of it. But it was weird because it was just reading your words that made me think, actually, oh yeah, because that, and it instantly brought that connection to me to think, that would be great, because from that memory from my son, but also to be able to plot on it, and it just brought it to life a little bit more. So I went and made a purchase because of it.
Exactly. It's like I think the original. I mean, I don't think the original like thing was terrible or anything like that. And when I do that rethink it, it's not to kind of say, oh, this original copy is terrible, but it's just like you say, there's not that story, the emotion, some kind of connection for people. It's just there. So I just isn't there. Sorry. So I do them to kind of add that back in. It's like, if you just do this, it's just a lot more human. That's kind of what I did, and you saw that, and they obviously made them a sale. Didn't get any commission for it, but
yeah, maybe you should say, where's my commission from that one jigsaw?
Well, that's the thing, doing something like that. You bought it, and I did one as famously as you know, like I did one for Swizzles.
Yeah.
That they had a load of gift boxes on their shop page, but it was just literally one sentence and nothing else. And it's like, what's in the gift box? I did one of those rewrites, like you said, made a lot more fun, cracked some jokes in it about Parma violets tasting like perfume, or just something like that. Or it's not like, you might not like them, but I bet your nan does. Something like that. And they saw it and they're like, yeah, Matt, can you write 11 product descriptions for us in the same kind of style, just fun, nostalgic, bit of humor. And it's kind of like, yeah, because that's what Swizzles do, that, it reminds us of childhood, and people do complain about Parma violets. So lean into it. Don't kind of go, oh, Parma violets are amazing. How dare you? How dare you slag off Parma violets? Go, no, they really do taste like perfume for most people. A lot of people hate them. So stick it in the copy. And that got me noticed. So again, you're doing something that kind of connects with an audience that you want to work with or want to reach. I've never worked for Swizzles, but just by doing something like that, if I put myself out there, do something a bit different, could have banged on about AI, used N dashes, but I thought, no, I'm just going to do a series a feature where I rewrite stuff that's just not on brand. Like, I only really do it for fun brands. It's like, oh, this isn't fun. This is Swizzles. These are the sweets that I used to get sellotape to the front of the Beano in like 1992. So it brings back that nostalgia, and it got me work with like I say, it's Swizzles. So I can't believe that happens still, but that's just by being human, having a bit of personality in it, and
it's the power of adding personality and being yourself, though, isn't it? It's it makes a massive, massive difference. Tracy's just said they really do.
Hello, Tracy. I worked with Tracy like 8 years ago. She was one of my very first clients when because I trained to be a copywriter. I think Tracy, probably. I had one client. I think Tracy was something like my fourth client. About 2018. So I wrote an email series for her. Vastly underpriced now, so she got an absolute bloody bargain then, I tell you.
M-dashes have their place and folks use them in their own writing. Don't produce them.
They do. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's the M-dash like complaints posts. It's like, I use M-dashes all the time. I used them before all the AI stuff. So M-dashes are absolutely fine. I'm all for an M-dash. It's just the kind of, here's how you tell people are using AI, because it's got an M-dash. Like, well, no, it's not, because I use it, and obviously Tracy uses them. So.
But I think what's interesting though as well is, like, I remember people saying to me, or someone saying to me, I'd written something and I'd said, oh, what do you think of this? Like, just to a friend, and they're like, it sounds like AI's written it. I'm like, I wrote it. I actually wrote it all. Like,
isn't there like a famous thing where someone's taken like an old book from like the 1800s or something, a famous book? I can't remember which one it is now. Someone in the comments might be able to tell what it is, but they've run it through AI, and it's like, this is like 100% AI, and it was done like 200 years ago. So, people can run it through AI checkers. It'll always throw up something more. So
exactly. Tracy's on a roll now. What a fab time we had.
Good. And she's I can't remember. No, it wasn't. I thought it was. I think I got a card from Tracy actually after that. A thank you card. I was trying to think who it was, but someone sent me socks once. I've not had many gifts off clients, but I got a pair of socks off one. And a bottle of wine for Christmas off another. But other than that, I don't really.
I don't know if this is aimed at you or me. I do recall giving you some advice too, my lovely.
Probably me.
I don't know. Tracy's giving me advice.
No, I mean, I was only doing it. Tracy was great for me, because I'd never written an email series at that point. So she was really supportive, and she kind of knew what she was doing, but needed a hand, really. And it was kind of like, this is kind of what you do. Because I'd done quite a lot of training in copywriting, but it's a bit different when you're actually doing it for a client. So that was the first ever kind of email series I ever did, was for Tracy. So and
she have a little plaque on the wall for Tracy.
I think she has. I think she has like Mat Day every year, just like celebrates working with her.
So I'm going to ask you a question, because I'm conscious that it's now 43 minutes later. A question that I ask with the podcast that I co-host, that we always ask guests, is, if I had a magic wand, what would you want to use? And I gave it to you. What would you want to use it for? It could be anything.
Oh, anything. What, even non-work related?
Yeah.
And
whilst you're having a think, I'll read Tracy's other comments. I didn't send you socks, so here's a pair now.
I think it was a one called Claire. I've just remembered it was one called Claire who sent me socks.
And then she said, to the lovely Matt.
Thank you very much.
I so did. I needed someone who knew more than I did, and it was so very helpful.
Thank you.
Every day is Matt Day.
And there you go. If I had a magic wand,
Yeah.
it'd be to work with it'd be to work with Tracy again. I think like it would be to. It's probably going to sound. I think it wouldn't master. It would be for me, but it would be mostly kind of for my wife. It would be that we could move to France, and my wife wouldn't have to work again. She's a teacher, so
yeah,
nearing the end of a teaching career. She's 9 years older than me, so she's 50. Well, she's 54 in 2 weeks, and it's just tiring. She's exhausted now, and it's like I would love to just for us to be able to move to France because she's a French teacher. She loves France, and then just me to kind of continue being able to work.
Yeah.
On stuff that I love, like all these nice clients that I've mentioned, and just doing. I think for everyone, like in work related, just doing stuff that you love with clients that you love, and But yeah, I think for me it'd just be to be able to live in France and my wife just not have to do anything other than whatever she wants to do. Garden if that's what she wants to do. We just want a little garden, which we don't have here. We only have a balcony, and we live on Liverpool, like the Mersey, so it's just like really windy and nothing grows out there because the wind's too strong and it's full of salt water, so it just kills everything. So I know she wants a little garden, so and I think that's what I would do. Yeah.
Sounds lovely. Sounds really nice.
You're all invited. Especially Tracy now. Tracy could come for the summer.
You have your own little chateau. Chateau.
Yeah, we'll get a little sheet. We'll get a little sheet attached to it. Tracy, you can stay in the sheet all summer. We'll get a swimming. We'll dig a swimming pool for you. There you go. That yeah. I might not have got socks, but Tracy gets a sheet with a private swimming pool.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you being my first guest on the return of the Awesome Business Club. And yeah, it's been a fun 45 minutes or so, just chatting all things copy. And I'm sure if anyone has any questions, if they watch it back or whatever, you'll be happy to answer them. But apart from LinkedIn, so if people aren't already connected with you, go and connect with Matt right now. But where else can they find you?
Well, they can find me on my website, indeliblethink.co.uk. I'm also on Instagram, just under indeliblethink. And that's about it. I have a Facebook page, but I don't really use it. So, yeah, my website or Instagram.
No, that's cool. Oh, Tracy's just said M Dash is off to start packing.
You need to buy that magic wand first.
Yeah. No, but honestly, thank you so much for being my first guest back. It's been really good to chat with you. And yeah, if anyone wants to be a future guest, then do let me know. I don't know how long I'm going to run this for. So the last time I did this, I did it for 44 episodes, which was quite a while. It was quite full on, but I really enjoyed it, and I realized I missed kind of having these kind of conversations. So it's great to be back. And yeah, if you're not already connected with me, then please do. But otherwise, have a great rest of your Tuesday or whatever day of the week it is that you watch this. And thanks so much for watching. Now I'm going to press end stream, and I seem to recall that it takes like another good 10-15 seconds before it just randomly stops, but we'll see what happens. So let's end that now, and we'll see when it says stop.